So President Trump has just decided that he is going to use funding from tariff revenue in order to fund the WIC programs during a government shutdown. First off, this is good news for women, infant, and children for this entire program, but this is also much bigger than just that because this actually opens up the door to use tariff revenue for other reasons. Potentially stimulus, like President Trump talked about, and providing maybe $1,000 or $2,000 rebates back to the American people, or this could potentially help out people that are being turned away from SNAP benefits. This could open up the door for health care. There's so many different things that tariff revenue can help solve. But will they do it? Look at this article right here. This is from CNN. This is just yesterday. It says, White House says it will use tariff revenue to fund federal food aid for mothers and young children. But do we stop there? That's the big question that many people are wanting answers on this. Do we stop with WIC? Or do we potentially open up the door here to allow this tariff revenue, which we've collected over $200 billion? Could we use some of this money to help fund SNAP benefits? Could we use some to help with affordable housing, with health care? Could we use some of this money for Social Security recipients? That's the big question, which a lot of people are wanting answers on. Again, I don't know yet, but we're going to get answers on this soon. But look at this right here, okay? I want to read a little bit of this article to you. It says, the Trump administration said Tuesday it will use tariff funds to keep afloat a federal food assistance program for nearly 7 million pregnant women, new moms, and young children during the government shutdown. Said the program known as WIC was expected to run out of money soon because Congress has yet to approve a federal spending package for fiscal year 2026, which started on October 1st. The National WIC Association has predicted that the program's funding would last only a week or two into the shutdown. And yeah, that was all they were expecting to have. And here's the problem. As soon as they have no funding, all the benefits that are going out the door for pregnant women, and this includes things like healthy food. This includes milk. This could be rice, beans, cheese, yogurt, things like that. But then when the baby is born, then it turns into formula. Then after formula, maybe it turns into whole milk or 2% or whatever. Okay, and it just kind of goes as the child grows up. So that right there is on the table where they're not going to let this program go without funding. They're going to keep funding it, but it's going to go through this tariff revenue. I want to keep reading this. It says right here, this is from Caroline Levitt. So what she posted on X just the other day. She says, the Democrats are so cruel in their continual votes to shut down the government that they forced the WIC program for the most vulnerable women and children to run out this week. Thankfully, President Trump and the White House have identified a creative solution to transfer resources from Section 232 tariff revenue to this critical program. Here's my question. When are we going to see more creative solutions to use some of this tariff revenue? That's the big question. I want to read this to you as well, okay? Look at this. It says, WIC supports nearly 7 million moms and children. But just roughly half of those eligible participants, some states were preparing to dip into their own coffers to support the program until the government reopened with the expectation that the federal government would reimburse them later. Is this a possibility that the federal government may reimburse states for using some of this Section 232 tariff revenue? Potentially. But again, where do we draw the line? And this is what a lot of people are asking. What can this money be used for? President Trump has made it very clear that, number one, WIC, he's not going to let it go unfunded. He's going to make sure that these 7 million pregnant women, children, they are going to have the necessary aid that that they need. These are low-income households. He says they are going to receive this. But he's also said that some of this money could be used as rebate checks going back to the American people, which again would help out a great deal. I want to keep reading this though. It says right here, although the program had bipartisan support for decades, some Republican lawmakers have threatened not to fully fund it in recent years. This is in regards to WIC. It says the White House's proposed fiscal 2026 budget and House Republicans' agriculture-related appropriations bill have suggested cutting the program's popular fruit and vegetable benefit. Yeah, that is something that they've talked about. There's a lot of support for that. I don't think there's a lot of support because cutting this fruit and vegetable budget, which I believe, and again I could be wrong, this year, but over the past several years, they've given like vouchers where you can go to a farmer's market and you can use the vouchers to buy fresh fruits and vegetables, which again are helping out the farmers. It's helping out a great deal. And I bring all this up because right now we are hearing a lot of reports from soybean farmers that they are struggling. China's not buying. Their prices have just completely changed and they're not making money and they're struggling as a whole. And President Trump said that he is going to support them. Is he going to support them with this over $200 billion that we've collected in tariff revenue? Potentially. But again, we're going to have to wait and see. I do want to show you a couple other things though. Hey, tariff revenue is changing things. But maybe not as much as we think. Look at this. It says U.S. annual budget deficit steady at $1.8 trillion, despite surge in tariff revenue. Some say that the reason why this is steady is because we continue to spend. Others say that there's some changes that are going to be coming very soon, so we'll see what those look like. But tariff revenue is helping out a great deal because the money's there. Now we just have to figure out, where should we spend it? Do we pay down our debt? Do we give it back to the American people in the form of a rebate check? Do we give it to pregnant women? Do we give it to those that are in need due to SNAP benefit changes? Do we help out those seniors that are receiving Social Security benefits, but it just doesn't cover enough? Or do we take some of that money and do we reduce the costs for seniors in the medication that they're currently purchasing? There's a lot of speculation here. There's a lot of people talking about different ways to help. But as of right now, that's what we know. That there's some massive changes coming. And we don't know exactly who they're going to help. I want to read you one last thing, though. It says the tariff money goes into a general fund managed by the Treasury Department. But the fund and all the tariff revenue flowing into it is essentially frozen until a bill is passed to fund the government. Congress and Trump could get around that by passing a measure designating the tariff revenue for a specific use. While the National WIC Association said it welcomes any effort to keep the program operational during the shutdown, it said critical details remain unknown. It goes on to say, families need long-term stability, not short-term uncertainty. It says, we still don't know how much funding this measure provides, how quickly states will receive it, or how long it will sustain operations. One thing that we do know, many states have already made it clear they're going to do what they can to ensure that this program is funded. And again, which brings up the other question, would the federal government reimburse states by giving this money out? The only thing I can tell you is the Trump administration is all for, 100% for, giving this money back to the American people. What they don't want to do is give benefits to illegal immigrants. That's all he said. That's the one thing he's been very clear on, is benefits that are paid for by the American taxpayers. We shouldn't be using that money to pay for any benefit for an illegal immigrant. So I don't know what's going to happen here, but what I can tell you is that this is a positive sign that the Trump administration is going to ensure that the WIC program doesn't go unfunded and hurting 7 million people. So we'll see what happens in the very near future, but that's what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.